POTFB, Brad. Happy Bucket Week.
We have the best theme song out there. Swear to God.
Yeah, shout out to the boys. Wave, Nick Skrill, Signar, friends and collaborators, Instrumental Volume 1 on streaming platforms. Check them out.
Yeah, happy Bucket Week. Yeah, feeling excited. You know, it's the first time in school history I feel like we have an opportunity to go 12-0. First time that the opportunity's even presented itself for the program, which is really exciting. And just an accomplishment in of itself, right?
In and of itself?
Yeah, to sweep your regular season slate, regardless of what happens the rest of the year, I think is a fantastic accomplishment for any team to achieve. And
they got to do it first, though.
Obviously, they got to take care of business. But it's a great accomplishment. Like we talk about championships and conference titles all the time. Going undefeated is pretty damn good. Only one team was able to do it last year in this era. Right. So it's like the fact that, you know, we're probably going to have 2 to 3 teams that accomplish that this year as well. Maybe just one. If, you know, some chaos happens this week, you know, it is rivalry week. A lot can happen. Right. So to be able to get through this week in what will be a very emotional rivalry, which will always bring in weird, you know, it's almost inevitable that I'm going to bring up a story of UCLA USC as I've watched that rivalry for very closely for about 2 decades. And yeah, there's just a lot. The ability to go through that whole stretch and finish out undefeated is a great accomplishment. And yeah, I'm just excited for the boys that they're obviously they want more than just that. But I think there needs to be some appreciation for accomplishing that feat.
100%.
Schedule. Not many teams are able to do it.
Well, no, yeah, and a lot of that, like somebody like Aiden Fisher talked about that in one of his pressers, where he was like, you know, with Signetti, it's always the next thing and the next thing, and what can you get accomplished to then go accomplish your goal. So you don't always take the time to appreciate those things. But no, I do fully agree with you. I think the fact that Indiana's in this position in year 2 of the Curt Signetti era is ungodly impressive. And if you look at all the way the arrows are pointing in terms of the long-term prospects of this program, they're pointing way up. And like we'll talk about, like we'll get into recruiting. We'll talk about Heisman Doza. We'll talk about a lot of the guys getting, you know, recognized with, you know, these awards based on performance. There's a lot of really positive things going on in the Indiana football environment outside of the fact that this is the best football season they've ever had statistically so far. And if you can't tell, Brad's easily distracted. Obviously, if you're watching,
I was listening to everything you said.
No, but I was going to make this point because it's like the elephant in the room is like we're obviously I joked and said we're head up with Indiana, Kansas State. Obviously, if you are a fan of this program, you're probably a fan of Indiana basketball, and so you probably have that game on. I'm assuming you have us on a second screen. That'd be awesome. If anybody's inside I have a request because I think we work well as a companion to this basketball game, right? Because you're gonna watch hoops and you're gonna do your thing, but you know it's Indiana football. It's bucket week. We got to focus here. So let us be your anchor to football while you keep an eye on basketball and all that good stuff. But do have a request. If anybody is streaming us from inside Assembly Hall, picture, please. Take a picture of the stream with the court in the background and tweet it at us, please.
That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty epic.
That'd be epic. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but you never know. With the power
Honestly, I'd rather them be locked in. I'd rather them not listen to the pod and just be locked in and go, ooh, whoosh, you know, and just
well, it's like,
out there.
It's gonna be like an 8-10, 8-15 tip off. Like the previous game is still going on. So yeah, listen, if you're gonna be scrolling Twitter yeah. Shout out to the Bonnies, North Carolina, the local team, kind of for me.
Woj. People forget Woj took over that team. You know,
yeah, that's his. He's the GM.
I know going into this game.
I got a buddy who played golf there, Brad.
Really?
Nice. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the college football playoff rankings first, which came out essentially as we were going live, or do you want to talk about the smoke?
Did they change it all?
Slightly. Oregon jumped Ole Miss.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. They beat USC. Okay. So that makes sense.
Miami and BYU each moved up. Or sorry, Miami moved up. Utah moved down one.
Interesting. Yeah, because Utah had a real scare with Kansas State, funny enough, over the weekend. I was watching the end
And
of that game.
Michigan jumped to 15.
Which means they're in position to make the playoff with a win over Ohio State. Wow. So
striking
fun.
distance.
They really are.
You know who's thrilled about that spot?
Where they make, I think if they beat Ohio State and we win, we're playing Michigan in the Big Ten title game.
There were a lot of different scenarios. I thought the funniest, and I forget who tweeted it out, where it was like, I think it was Tom Fornelli that was like, thank God this insightful graphic exists. And if I just gave him credit for a tweet that wasn't his, I apologize. And it was like the bottom thing of the text was like, there are several scenarios still at play, and it didn't detail any of them. It just said they exist. It was like, all right, cool. I guess we got all the bases covered here.
Yeah, I think only 4 teams can make it, though. I think only Oregon, Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana are still in the running for the Big Ten title game. Rivalry week still on the way. I think you can guess what each team is playing based on who the rival is this week, which will make the slate really fun. Love a good rivalry week slate. Yeah, I'm just pumped to be in this position. And the fact that this rivalry game, where it was so funny because, like, remember when we were going to the Purdue game last year, it was like win and we're in type deal, right? Because obviously if we lost to Purdue last year, I wouldn't have put us in.
No, we were out for sure. A 2-loss Indiana team with a loss to that Purdue team is out for sure. No questions. Like, and we wouldn't have been arguing. And they would have went and killed whoever they played in the bowl game, and everybody would have been like, "Holy shit!" Like they would have been.
They would have been preseason ranked 9,
exactly.
like Illinois was.
They would exactly. They wouldn't have snuck up on anybody. They would have beat South Carolina by 45 in that bowl game. And everybody would have been like, "Holy shit, we fucked up. We should have put them in the playoff." And it would have completely different in terms of public perception. So maybe that helped them a little bit. Maybe it pissed them off. Maybe it helped them work a little bit harder. But you know what? It's almost like none of it matters. Like Cignetti's going to find whatever he needs to find to motivate those guys to work as hard as they need to. And I almost feel like it wouldn't have mattered. But I do think public perception would have been drastically different if they were, like an 11-2 with a huge bowl win versus 11-2 with the 2 losses they had, which were, I mean, you want to talk about good losses, which I don't. So
yeah,
that's the college football playoff ranking. It looks like
that's pretty crazy that they gave Michigan that in.
It is kind of crazy. They were at 18 last week. They beat Maryland on the road.
All right, so they're showing the field right now. So we're getting the winner of Ole Miss, Alabama right now.
I love that spot.
I love any spot. Like, you're going to get a good team. Like, give me Miami, give me Oregon, give me Notre Dame, give me Oklahoma. That's going to be a tough fucking battle for us to win, right? We get the 1 seed. We get the winner of A&M or the winner of Tech versus Group of 5.
Still like Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin's coaching 3 different football teams right now.
Shut up. There's the Twitter brain for you. But yeah, he's probably going to Florida, is what I'm thinking.
I don't think so. I think it's actually more likely he stays. And we're gonna get into it a little bit. We'll talk about it.
That's fun. We can talk about that. That'll be a fun one.
No, I'm pumped. We are gonna talk about it.
All right. Tennessee with Houston's coming down the wire. You know, I know there's a lot of Kelvin Sampson haters probably listening.
Why would you say that, Brad? Is it because he set back the Indiana basketball program for recruiting violations that would be slap on the wrists today?
Yeah.
Or is it the other stuff like the dark underside? Everybody just like doesn't want.
We don't really talk about that, you know.
Good basketball coach.
A lot of illegal activity with that team, with that era. But yeah, man, I like watching Houston play ball. I really do. I think in terms of just like the philosophy of just out conditioning the rest of the country to get to Final Fours, I think is ingenious, right? We're going to get the best athletes. We're going to be in the best shape of any team in the country. And with that, we can shoot average and play really good defense, and we're going to go to the Final Four. Like that. I love that ball philosophy as a hooper myself.
I like it. Oh yeah, shout out to Angelo pointing out the background. Yeah, we are festive right now. We got a little turkey background. I got to reach out this week and figure out what happened with our original background, but I do like the festive background. We got the hat, the pumpkin. It's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving week. I'm going down to
I love
Florida this
Halloween.
weekend. I'm pumped. I'll be in Fort Myers. I'm gonna try and catch the Lady Hoosiers play on Friday. Super pumped about that, and potentially, although it's at the same time as Indiana Purdue, Cavante Scarface Hugan in Booker High School plays in a state playoff game on Friday night.
Ooh. I think
So
my
if I'm feeling frisky, maybe I'll end up at that game too.
I think my Loyola Cubs are still in the playoffs. What's funny enough about my Loyola Cubs is that my president at the time actually passed away last couple of days. So R.I.P. Father
so sorry
Greg
yeah.
Koffels. Yeah. R.I.P. Rest in peace.
What the kid in front of us? LC4L or what?
C4L.
C4L.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because like that's a funny story. Like we were sitting at the UCLA Indiana. I can't believe we didn't even told the story yet.
We did.
We were sitting at the Indiana UCLA game, and I was literally just spewing about Loyola Cubs, obviously. And then this guy sitting right in front of us is like, Loyola? Like, I was like, yeah, C4L. And he knew exactly what I was talking about. Like, that's so crazy to see him all the way out there, see a guy like that all the way out in the Midwest, because it's not a road often taken to go from.
Well, you left a hell of a legacy, Brad.
University. Yeah, I really
mastered the eye test and
I really paved the way. It's glad to know I'm inspiring the younger generation.
Let's loop all this into one, because I think this is a good place to start with the smoke. Heisman Mendoza is in full swing. First of all, shout out to whoever made that Indiana football graphic where like with the like vote for Fernando and here's how you do it, and they put the tweets in the graphic and they put my tweet in the graphic, and that was like holy shit, one of the cool, like just like as somebody who spends way too much time on Twitter and too much time, looking at a lot of this stuff, to see that and be like looking at the graphic and like Dov Kleiman pops up in the top left. I'm like, Dov Kleiman. Then I look down, I'm like, holy shit, that's me. Like ran around the room. I did a somersault onto the couch behind me. Like it popped me. So shout out to whoever did that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You deserve it too. You've been one of the biggest advocates for IU football the past 2 years, and couldn't think of anyone more deserving to have their tweet in IU official IU football graphic.
I'm not doing anything special. I'm just saying what my eyes are seeing, Brad. Maybe taking after the master of the eye test a little bit.
If I tweeted more, maybe I'd probably be in a lot more graphics.
I tell you to tweet more. You just don't want to. Roger R is asking, does Haynes pitch a shutout this Friday night? We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Maybe. I thought the same thing about Wisconsin, but they might throw like a little halfback pass on us. I want to keep the trick plays. All right, like it's gonna happen.
Outside of the graphic, just listening to the bye week really provided an opportunity for the rest of the country to meet Fernando, and there was no better example than his appearance on the what's the triple option podcast, Urban Meyer and Rob Stone, I think, and Mark Ingram, and they asked Fernando to describe the Penn State play to Omar Cooper, and he was like, the way he broke it down and seeing two Joker and talking about the hips turning and beating the boundary defender.
When he brought up the hips, that's when Urban was like, what?
Urban Meyer was drooling on the other side of it. He was like, this is incredible shit. Like, are you listening to this? And it's just like, of course, like the Jets are going to not take him, right? Because they're idiots, and Cleveland's going to pass on him because they think they're the other guy. And I hope he ends up in LA, because that would be incredible. But yeah, listening. And then Fernando goes on the Heisman Trophy podcast as well. You get the whole groundswell of voting, and people are kind of now realizing you can vote every day and all that stuff. He's top 5 in Golden Arm. He's top 3 in Maxwell Award. He's racking up the accolades, and he is cementing himself as the leader in the Heisman race. And right now he's the only person minus money. The number 2 favorite is Jeremiah Love. He's at plus 375. He was plus 4,000 before last week, which is insane movement. And Jeremiah Love, and I tweeted this, and I
wish I threw 1,000 on it. Honestly, I wish I threw more money on it.
Right, dude, that's crazy jump. But the fact that he was able to jump Julian Sayin after Notre Dame killed Syracuse. His first carry was 21-0 Notre Dame before he touched the ball, and yeah, he had a great game. But it's like Julian Saint had to be like average at best in the eyes of the public to just maintain that spot. Like he was the second favorite by a wide margin. And now you go into this week and Jeremiah Love is overtaking him. And that's pretty significant. But both of them are chasing Fernando Mendoza. And I know it's going to be cold this weekend against Purdue, but they're going to throw the football. Like I listened to Kurt Cignetti's press conference. So it's like, this is just going to be another opportunity for Fernando to cement himself as Heisman Mendoza. But like to be completely honest, like barring catastrophe, it's Fernando's award.
Did you mention the Maxwell Award finalist?
Yeah, he's top 3 in Maxwell.
Yeah, that's a big award. That's big time. And we called it so early, just crazy. I use up 5-0, by the way, on K-State. Take Conway, cross, tween, pull up, splick. If Conway's hitting that shot, I mean, this team, man, it feels like they play up to teams.
Well, I mean, we can kind of mix in basketball as it flows. No, and obviously, like if you ever get confused at what Brad's talking about, he's watching the basketball game, but they openly acknowledged that energy was one of the biggest reasons why they struggle in a lot of these games, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense when you're used to 15 to 17,000 people screaming their head off, and there is 8, and you're in a tougher game than you want. It's like I don't know. I watch a lot of fighting, Brad, and people always talk about if you find yourself in a fight that you thought you were going to win, but you end up find yourself down. It's a lot harder to mentally overcome that than if you were like an underdog going into it. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch the highlights from this one, but somebody has to drive the bus.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good time to talk about recruiting stuff because it's going to get us. I don't want to say negative, but we'll talk about a couple of the decommits and kind of the reasons. And I feel like this will be a good time where it gets washed into the start of the basketball game. But there was a lot of recruiting movement in the last couple of weeks. Indiana flipped Ben Novak, an offensive lineman from Andreen, who's playing in a state championship game this weekend in Indiana on Saturday. And they also flipped DeMonte Timms, a safety from Sefner, Florida, who was committed to Colorado. Defensive back committed to Colorado tells you everything you need to know, right? You look at who defensive backs that Colorado targets. You obviously Deion Sanders is Deion Sanders. So when that guy recruits a defensive back,
I trust his DBI for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I trust the fact that regardless of his DBI, I would imagine that because of who he is, it's way easier to be elite at that position and be attracted to that type of coaching, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like elite DBs want to play for an elite DB. Like that would just make sense to me.
Yeah.
But our defensive backs coaches are elite. Ola Adams, Rod Ojong are elite. Ola Adams, obviously this is his room. But yeah, those two guys obviously are dogs. But then you look at the flip side of it. We had 3 decommits: Cash Herrera, the quarterback, Walker Bryson, a wide receiver from Georgia, and LaRon Dews, a safety from Florida. It was presented as these were mutual. If you want to read the tea leaves and look, they brought in LeVar Keys as a wide receiver. They brought in DeMonte Timms as a safety. 2 guys in those position rooms come in, 2 guys in those position rooms leave. Make of that what you will. I don't know. I don't have any information, right? I don't know why these things happen. I'm just going to say when anybody decommits from your football team, it sucks, right? Because you want kids to come in, and then when these guys commit, you kind of get a certain I don't want to say an attachment to them, but it's like they become sort of like Indiana guys, and then when those guys don't end up making it to the class for whatever reason that is, it's always disappointing. So you always want to wish the best for those guys, and it's just the overwhelming thought from people on the outside on social media is that Indiana pushed these guys out, and we don't know if that's the case or not. But the fact that that's just like floating around the ether is like, it sucks. I don't like that notion. And you hope that's not the case.
It's a business, you know?
I mean, it is a business.
Yeah, I know. And it's all about, making sure there's a way of going about it in a good way, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's just different ways of treating people. And from what I've heard, Indiana is very good about that type of stuff.
Exactly. Which is why that narrative that almost seems negative is kind of shocking that it popped up, because from everything we've heard from people on the inside, like not like people from Indiana, but like recruiting insiders and things like that. Like this is a very positive environment, especially with the way they interact with recruits.
Yeah, and I think it's an oversimplification that IU pushed them out. Like, yeah, it's mutual in the sense that IU was like, hey, I don't think we have a spot for you anymore. What are you thinking? What's your temp check at? And because Indiana, unfortunately, is in a much different spot than when they were going into this recruiting cycle, right? They have the access to the higher level recruits if they need them. They're going to be able to get their pick of the litter in the transfer portal as that comes around this offseason. Hence a Cash Herrera decommit with no real news in regards to who are they going to go after next from that freshman class to make it seem like they're not bringing in anyone. You got to remember, let's break down that quarterback room real quick. Next year, here's how it's going to look like. It's going to look like redshirt freshman Jacob Bell, redshirt freshman Tyler Cherry, who's coming back onto the team after he was off the team this year.
Student coaching role.
Didn't use a year of eligibility because of that loophole. Comes back as a third-year redshirt freshman. You have redshirt sophomore Alberto Mendoza. Grant Wilson leaves from lack of eligibility. And then redshirt senior Fernando Mendoza is still on the table. I'm just going to put that out there.
Redshirt senior Fernando Mendoza is not on the table. Redshirt senior Fernando Mendoza is going to be a top 10 pick in the draft, regardless of if the evaluators in the top of the crop get it right.
We've had this conversation, so I'm not going to do it again. But, it's like, what if we threw $8 million at him?
The only reason I don't want to say the only reason, but like
this is straight just from my ass. I don't think this is going to happen.
No, I'm aware, but I'm saying like he comes back to do one of two things: one, improve his draft stock, and two, chase a championship. And so if he's coming back, that means something. Like that means we didn't accomplish our goal this year. So
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Let's go through this year first and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
But no, I think he should be like the guys who can go. It's football. Like, yeah, you can get paid now, but if you can get paid there, go get paid there because it's the second contract there where you can.
So, really Cherry, Bell, Burt, and then like we've always been saying all offseason, like that transfer quarterback that they're probably going to bring in to compete with Burt for the starting job. And that could be Sam Levitt. That could be anyone really across the country that they can bring in and be the potential starting quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers next year, which is really exciting. So I think that Cash Herrera spot just opens up a spot to where they like Cherry, they like Bell. Obviously, they like Burt.
Don't forget about Maverick Geske, Brad.
You know how I feel about walk-ons, man. Until you get on the field, I don't talk about you. I'm sorry. I only talk about Utzinger, Turvey, and not even Jack Greer. I really
What about two-time Scout Team Player of the Week, Kyler Kropp?
No, but we will talk about Clay Connor.
Yeah. I want to point out some positives in the class. Not that stars matter because they don't, but Scarface Hugan, Jaden Williams received their 4th stars, which is awesome. You like recognition for those guys.
They must
Jacob Savage
some calls from the evaluators. They must have been answering their texts.
I think it's I called it the Bloomington bump when I responded to Hoosier Review, and he told me I need to copyright that. But I think it's the fact that they look like idiots for saying Indiana didn't have a top 50 talent-wise roster coming into this season, and they're going to be the number 2 team in the college football playoff rankings going into the championship weekend.
It basically means that you just can't be the number 50th most talented team in the country and be number 2 at the same time. So clearly
somebody messed up, and it wasn't Indiana.
And it wasn't the 11-0 Hoosiers. It wasn't them, all right, because they're 11-0, should be ranked 2, are ranked 2.
Exactly.
Arguably 3, still same argument applies, right? Arguably 1 to 3, same argument applies, right? Yeah.
I want to get the name of this award.
Which award is it?
Jacob Savage was named the number 1 player in the state of Kentucky. That is the Paul Ornung Award. Number
Ornung?
1 player.
Really? They give that to
they give it to the number 1 player in Kentucky.
Ornung is also, or maybe it used to be a college award as well. Pretty sure.
Blake Smythe was named, I think that's Indiana because he's an Indiana kid, Mid-State Player of the Year. Henry Olinger is a top 3 athlete in the class officially. And LeVar Keys was named first team all conference. That's just some of what I picked up on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the class. They're going to bring in another fun, big transfer portal class this offseason. So I'm just really excited for that. Mixed in with a lot of young, up-and-coming guys that have been on this team for a while, it's going to make for a really interesting offseason where I think a lot of jobs are going to be available in terms of starting roles. Linebacker's pretty set. If Bones Jones leaves for the league, it becomes a little less set. Could have people breaking out and finding that role. But D-line looks to be wide open going into this offseason.
There are so many like kids that are going to be redshirt freshmen next year that are just straight dogs that are going to be unleashed. Either I don't know if they'll be ready for playoff season. I would be a little surprised if at least one of them wasn't. And I'm saying like one of those freshmen developed at a rate where they can be effective at the end of a season, right? That's kind of when you see these guys start to mature after spending 6 to 8 months in a college weight room.
Yeah.
But one quick note to kind of wrap up the recruiting talk before we move on. I think it's significant that Indiana and Purdue are playing on Black Friday. And the fact is that I think, unless it was just a chunk of games that I saw, a lot of those Indiana state championships are being played on Saturday. And so Indiana and Purdue both can go scout those games. Or at least have representation at those games.
You know, sometimes teamwork makes the dream work. Hey, we want to recruit the state title game weekend. You want to scout the state title game weekend? Let's collaborate here. Let's play on Black Friday every year. How about that?
And there's one Indiana school that will not be able to recruit the state because I think it's a road game they're playing. I think they're out at Stanford this weekend. I don't want to step on the slate. Yeah, they are. Late game at Stanford. So Notre Dame, unless they leave staffers behind, which is entirely possible, will not be scouting those games live at least.
That's good. Notre Dame recruits pretty nationally, though.
Yeah, I was about to say Notre Dame doesn't have any problems recruiting, so I doubt that's really an issue.
I don't think they give a flying fuck about this.
And then a couple of the Masai Mickens was somebody who had released his top 3. I think it was like Indiana, Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. He then
choose any of those schools.
No, he then Oklahoma flipped a 4-star kid. Ole Miss, who knows what Lane Kiffin's doing, and Indiana just decided to go in a different direction. He ended up going to Virginia Tech. And then Matt Sieg.
He had one of those names where it's just like, you know, a big name guy. I think that's a big indicator, like Jaja Boyd, you know, like that guy's gonna be a stud. LeBron
so
Ball. Messiah Mickens, he's gonna be a hell of a running back. Let me tell you. Name alone.
Yeah, he's going to be playing for James Franklin. And then the last kind of really intriguing Penn State prospect that Indiana had been connected to is Matt Sieg. He officially announced his commitment date will be signing day December 3rd. He's got 5 schools on his list. It was Indiana, Notre Dame, Pitt, Penn State, and Virginia Tech. I think it's significant that he set the date next week and not immediately. You saw Mickens go to Virginia Tech and kind of commit immediately. So I think that bodes well for Indiana. We'll see where they stand. Obviously, Franklin's still in it. He committed to Penn State. He's a Pittsburgh kid, so you kind of don't know where his head's at. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. December 3rd is the date for him. Yeah, we'll see. It'd be a cool guy to add to this class. Obviously, you look at where the top-rated guys in this class are, and they're all on the defensive side of the ball, and we know the demons they have on that defensive coaching staff. So keep giving them guys to develop, see what happens.
I like how you call coaches demons. I think that's really funny.
I was calling super sidebar Indiana. The Red Sox made a trade with the Cardinals today, and the Cardinals president of baseball operations is Chaim Bloom. And as soon as I saw that, my heart dropped. I was like, who do you steal from us? It was Richard Fitz and Brandon Clark. Brandon Clark's a tall, flame-throwing lefty, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's not relevant to any of this. You know what is relevant though, Brad? Carter Smith. He is an Outland Trophy semifinalist. That's for the best. They call it the best interior offensive lineman, but it's for the best offensive lineman. I'm not sure why interior is there. I'm guessing because they want to exclude people who officially line up on the line. So I guess like inline tight ends, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's an offensive line award. Carter Smith obviously has been one of the best offensive linemen in the country this year. No surprises there. Shout out to Carter Smith.
Shout out to Carter Smith. Hope he wins that award.
He should win that award. He has been by far the best offensive lineman in the country.
Yeah, he's been nails this year.
D'Angelo Pons is the highest graded cornerback in the Big Ten, according to Pro Football Focus. They also used him to sell a bunch of subscriptions. So, Angelo, I hope you guys saw a piece of that.
Hopefully.
But that's sick. Shout out to D'Lo. And also shout out to D'Lo. I have it written down on the back page because I went in chronological order. But and Angelo, shout out to you guys too. And shout out to the whole family and shout out to the Bensons. But the Ponses, the Bensons, D'Angelo bought 60 turkeys and meals for the Bloomington Boys and Girls Club, and they handed those out yesterday. And it's just like stuff like that warms your heart when you have the ability to give back and you have the ability to affect somebody else's life in a positive way, and you then take the opportunity to do it. Like D'Angelo Pons could have been sitting on a beach, you know what I mean? Like I guess he couldn't because they had practice this week, but like to go straight from practice to then hand out meals and make somebody's life better. It's like the Bensons to be involved and just for that cause. It's just that stuff warms your heart. So shout out to those guys, and that's what you like to see. That's what being a Hoosier is all about. Big time.
Hoops are up 20-4. I looked up and they're just annihilating Kansas State right now. It's pretty sick. Pretty awesome. Kansas State hasn't made a bucket in 6 minutes of game.
They're supposed to be the best offensive team in the country, no?
They have the leading scorer in the country.
They're the best 3-point shooting team in the country. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what I heard today.
Interesting. We're really good defending the three. So
DeVries presser, and we'll sidebar. We'll get back to football in a second. Listening to DeVries talk, like he's just a calm guy. Like he's not worried about the recent shooting struggles. Like they asked him what he thought about Lamar Wilkerson's struggles, and he was like, he should keep shooting. Like he's a great shooter, and like just saying no money from PFF. Scam, man, scam. It's a scam. There are ethical companies out there that don't want to use other people's name, image, and likeness to make money for themselves and not give it to them. And there are companies that scam people. But at least they're calling him number one. At least they're properly recognizing him as the best cornerback in the Big Ten. We'll take that, right?
Yeah, they're the good guys.
But yeah, listening to DeVries talk, it's calming. That guy's he's sharp and he gets it, and he understands that. Like he's a calming voice in a very chaotic, at a very chaotic time for Indiana basketball. So it's nice to listen to DeVries.
Someone's got to temper the storm. He's doing a great
he's
job.
Great at it. Dude doesn't like it. It seems like he's unaffected by the pressure, and there's a lot of it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna. I think he's the long-term solution, but we'll see. It's obviously too early to say, but I like what I see. Get some more talent into that locker room and see what can happen.
Speaking of talent, Aiden Fisher, Butkus Award finalist. We got a very rare midweek tweet from Brian Haynes, just as the number 4, but obviously kind of tells you how big of a deal that they view that in that room. Just shout out to Aiden Fisher, man. Like that dude is an awesome football player who deserves every bit of recognition coming his way. And yeah, it's when you watch that guy play, it's like, yeah, it has to be one of the best linebackers in college football. Who's better than that guy? And not many.
And I think it deserves a special shout out, just considering like elephant in the room, like Jacob Rodriguez is probably going to run away with that award at Texas Tech. He's having a phenomenal year. But Aiden Fisher, he may not have the turnovers that Jacob Rodriguez has that sets him apart, right? But he's the main piece on what is 1A, 1B best defense in the country, right next to Ohio State. And he's the leader, the captain of this team for the past 2 years. A big reason for this turnaround, and definitely deserves all the flowers. I think, he might not win this award, but first-team All-American seems very likely for him. So congratulations to Aiden Fisher on a hell of a season, which is not over yet. And he'll be the first to correct me on that too.
Oh, I'm realizing now as I'm looking at the chat, Roger R's got to be John. It's got the blue J or the blue J.
Got it.
I feel like I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But shout out to Aiden Fisher. Yeah, Buckus Award finalist, and yeah, one of the best pure linebackers in the entire sport. Something that was ridiculous this week. I don't know if you caught any of it, Brad. Oh yeah, I was right. Let's fucking go. I was right. I don't know if you saw the Nebraska volleyball journalists get on those Indiana fans for being fans of a college team. So utterly ridiculous.
What are we doing out here? You know?
Brutal. We'll move on. Mike Petchik has been posting like beat Purdue pictures every single day leading up to the bucket game. And in his picture today, in the background of his picture, and Indiana Edits pointed that out. Shout out to Indiana Edits. Was good old JR Jim Ross. If you're a wrestling fan of any sort, and I'm talking about like professional wrestling, not like college wrestling, then you know who Jim Ross is. And so like the fact that he was like in Indiana Hoosiers credentials at that game was shocking to me. 1, 2, hilarious, and just like a really cool moment. So you never know who's gonna be popping up at these games.
That's great. Nick Dorn. Oh man. All right. I'm back.
You know who else is in Assembly Hall right now, Brad? Which Chicagoan?
Chicagoan.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know this person personally?
No. Well, if you did, it would
do I know who they are? How confident are you that I know who they are?
I'm pretty confident you know who this is.
Okay. Native Chicagoan?
No. Athlete.
Okay.
So he's out of season, obviously.
Pete Crow Armstrong?
No, but you were close. It was Colson Montgomery. He's in Assembly Hall in a Heisman Doza shirt and one of those like upside down Indiana things. Inside the hall tweeted out the picture, and then Josh Paz came over the top with it and actually clarified in a tweet and said that Montgomery was committed to Mercer in 2019, but got drafted by the White Sox, ended up going to the league. So he's there watching the Hoosiers.
I don't understand the connection.
He was committed to Indiana.
Oh, I thought you said he was committed to Mercer. Oh, the coach.
Yeah,
okay. I got you. When you said Mercer, I was like, the Bears and from Macon, Georgia? Are you serious?
I mean, they're probably filthy at baseball, honestly.
Yeah, they are. They usually make the tournament.
Nick Roadcap had the players of the week for the last 2 weeks from Penn State. It was Charlie Becker on offense, Aiden Fisher on defense. It was Utzinger on special teams, and the scout team was Kyler Garcia, Blake Thierry, and Kyler Kropp. And for the Wisconsin game, offense was Mendoza, defense was Daly, special teams was Langston, and scout team was Tyrone Burris, Jacob Bell, and Kyler Kropp again.
Love seeing Blake Thierry, Kyler Garcia. Big fan.
Especially like mimicking Penn State means they're doing some good work.
Those are guys that could probably play next year. What's funny, like Thierry is just not the same type of athlete that like a Nowakowski or a Horton is. They're just different types of athletes. I'm not saying one's better than the other. It'll be interesting to see how that tight end position continues to progress with Indiana over the course of time.
Well, Thierry, wrestler, so he's got elite hand placement, and track, so he's a good athlete. I think it's going to be very exciting to watch that kid play tight end in the coming years.
Yeah, because I've been wait till we have AJ Barner types playing that tight end role. Like this team can take it to the next level. You know, you don't have to rely on a 6'1" H-back to play tight end. Not that there's anything wrong with Riley Nowakowski, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have a 6'6" basketball body type tight end. You know, your Colston Lovelands, your AJ Barners, your TJ Hawkinsons, you know, those types of athletes.
You mean your first round, your no-brainer first round pick league guys? Yeah, it's awesome to have those guys on your offense.
Yeah, and they will get there eventually. You know, it's exciting, and I think Blake Thierry could be one of those guys down the line if he sticks with the program. You know, crossing my legs on the couch now. I don't know if anyone saw that, but
do you? Let's save the coaching hires discussion for after the before the slate.
Okay.
In the vote for Heisman Doza video I tweeted today, you can see me and Brad. So if you want a little Easter egg hunt, you can go try and find us. We're actually, funny enough, standing next to Angelo.
That's great.
So you can go find all three of us in that. Once again, shout out to the Ponzes, the Bensons for giving out the turkeys at the Boys and Girls Club. Just an awesome, awesome thing to do. Love seeing that during holiday times. Ducks versus them, week 7. I brought it back up this week, watching Dan Lanning talk about like Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush not showing up for USC in that game, and just like made me think like people were trying to fight me on this. Like
Nate Sudfeld's not walking through that door.
He was 100% talking the same way during the Indiana game that he talks during every football game he's ever coached his entire life. I promise you that footage is gold, and it exists somewhere if they didn't burn it. And so if somebody, oh my God, I would do anything to see that footage. It'd be incredible because they end up losing in the end. So, and they posted his like post game talk, and so like everybody was like, "Oh, you didn't even look at the next week because the post game was in the next week." And I was like, "Well, I wasn't looking for post game. I was looking for when he actually thought he could win, because that's the funnier stuff." But,
yeah,
I don't know. I had fun. It would have been psycho though. That would have been good stuff. There was a Georgia fan that pointed out that Indiana plays Purdue on rivalry weekend. I do have to admit the SEC has done really well engagement baiting Indiana fans. And then a super sidebar on that. I saw Peter Burns in a TV segment, and that kind of just blew my mind. I can't believe they're putting that guy on TV. I'm glad I don't watch ESPN. What do you think about the Georgia fans, Brad? Coming off 3 days ago, Georgia played Charlotte, and they're upset Indiana plays Purdue this weekend.
Go Dogs, sick 'em. But yeah, shout out my boy George. He's a big Georgia fan, ironically. Because they let him punt at their pro day. So he's Georgia. He's a UConn punter, and they let Georgia him punt at their pro day, which is
that's a very nice move.
Yeah,
a very nice move.
Classy. I mean, yeah, like you said, SEC fans are very good at engagement farming the Indiana fans, and they fall for it every time. The Indiana fans, it's I
can't help myself.
Not falling for it. Stop it. But it's like, because like they know damn well, like who else are we gonna play rivalry weekend?
Yeah, right.
Guess we could start something with Penn State, I guess, but like we already beat them, so I guess we just delay the Omar Cooper catch to later in the year.
Yeah. I have some I think it's a Notre Dame fan trying to tell me that it's actually good if you're trying to win the Heisman to go down in the rankings.
No. What?
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about Purdue. Do you have a history lesson for us, Brad?
What? That's why Toby Gerhart didn't win the Heisman's, because they lost too many games. They lost 4 games, and Toby Gerhart had the best season of anyone in the country that year, but since they were 8-4, he couldn't win it. You remember that whole debate?
Yeah, kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it's not really. Like, I think your team should win. If you want to win the Heisman, it's an important thing. I think you got to win at least 9 games to win the Heisman, in my opinion. But, Travis Hunter didn't have to do that. But I guess Toby Gerhart didn't get the same treatment. Toby
Gerhart wasn't also playing linebacker.
He could have, though. He's playing outfield. He was playing left field for Stanford at the time.
Pac-12 memory of the week.
Yeah, Toby Gerhart in left field. Pac-12 memory of the week. Yeah, Purdue history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
All right.